The medical bay of Station Kithara hummed with the steady rhythm of life support systems, but Elsa felt anything but alive. Her elongated fingers traced the smooth curve of her swollen abdomen, feeling the gentle movements within. At 7 months, into her pregnancy cycle, far beyond what Zephyrian society deemed acceptable, she had become an outcast among her own people. The Zephyrians were a practical species. Reproduction was scheduled, regulated, and terminated if it exceeded optimal parameters. Elsa's pregnancy had been sanctioned initially, but complications had extended her gestation period well beyond the standard 4-month cycle. Rather than face the mandatory termination procedures, she had fled to this neutral trading station on the galaxy's rim. Now 3 weeks later, her credits were nearly exhausted, and the station's automated systems had begun restricting her access to non-essential areas. Soon, even her small quarters would be sealed off. The other species aboard the station avoided her, some out of respect for Zephyrian law, others simply because her situation made them uncomfortable. James Rodriguez had been watching the blue-skinned woman from across the station's central plaza for days. As the human representative aboard Kithara, he'd made it his business to know about everyone who passed through, but this one intrigued him. Her elegant features and the way she carried herself spoke of nobility, yet she sat alone each day, her large violet eyes holding a sadness that reminded him of his sister back on Earth when she'd lost her first pregnancy. "Excuse me," James said, approaching her table in the food court. "I'm James Rodriguez, human liaison. I couldn't help but notice you've been here a while. Is there anything I can help with?" Elsa looked up, startled. In all her time on the station, no one had voluntarily spoken to her. "I am Elsa Vethka of the Third House of Zephyr," she replied formally, her voice carrying the melodic quality of her species. "I require no assistance, thank you." James noticed the slight tremor in her voice, the way her hand instinctively moved to protect her belly. "Mind if I sit? I don't get much chance to talk with Zephyrians. Your people rarely venture this far from your core systems." Against her better judgment, Elsa nodded. There was something disarming about this human. His warm brown eyes held genuine concern, not judgment. "I've heard Zephyrian pregnancies are typically quite brief," James continued, carefully. 4 months, right? But sometimes complications can extend that time frame? Elsa's composure cracked slightly. "You know of my condition?" "Word travels fast on a small station, but I also know something about extended pregnancies. My own species carries young for 9 months as standard, sometimes longer with complications." He leaned forward. "Among humans, we consider longer pregnancies a sign of a strong, healthy child. The baby is taking extra time to develop properly." For the first time in weeks, Elsa felt tears threatening to fall. "Your species, they do not exile women for late births?" "Exile you?" James looked genuinely shocked. "We celebrate them. We have saying, good things come to those who wait. A pregnancy that goes long usually means a very special child." Over the following days, James found excuses to visit Elsa. He brought her food from the human quarters replicators, claiming he'd ordered too much. He shared stories of his nephew's difficult birth, how the extended pregnancy had resulted in a brilliant, healthy child who was now top of his class in astrophysics. Most importantly, he listened as Elsa spoke of her fears, her exile, and her desperate love for the child she carried. "Your people will accept you back after the birth?" James asked one evening as they sat watching ships dock through the plaza's massive viewports. "I will be marked as defective," Elsa replied quietly. "My child as well. We will be relegated to the outer settlements, forbidden from participating in society." James was quiet for a long moment. Then, "What if you didn't go back?" "I have nowhere else. Earth has colony worlds that welcome refugees. Our Federation specifically protects pregnant women and children. We have entire planets where mixed communities thrive. Zephyrians, humans, Altarians, even some Christek collectives." He turned to face her fully. "I can sponsor your application for sanctuary. It's not charity. We need skilled xenobiologists, and your credentials are impressive. Elsa stared at him. You would do this? For someone you barely know? My species believes in something we call paying it forward, James explained. Someone helped my grandparents when they fled Earth's resource wars. They found sanctuary on Mars. That kindness echoed through generations. He smiled. Besides, any child that fights this hard to come into the world deserves a chance to make their mark on it. 3 weeks later, as Elsa felt the first contractions begin, James was there, holding her hand as the station's medical droid guided her through the birth. When her daughter finally arrived, a perfect, healthy child with her mother's violet eyes and an unusually strong grip, the human had tears in his eyes. She's beautiful, he whispered. And look at those hands. She's going to build amazing things someday. As Elsa held her daughter for the first time, she looked at the man who had shown her what true civilization looked like. Not the cold efficiency of her own people, but the messy, complicated, wonderful business of caring for strangers simply because it was right. Her name is Elena, Elsa announced, using the human variation James had mentioned. Elena Rodriguez Vethka. James looked surprised. You don't have to. In Zephyrian culture, a child may carry the name of one who ensures their survival, Elsa explained. You gave us both a future, James Rodriguez. It is only fitting she carries your name forward. 6 months later, on New Geneva Colony, Elsa received her first communication from Zephyr Prime in over a year. The message was brief, but significant. Several other Zephyrian women had sought human sanctuary for extended pregnancies, and a growing movement questioned the old reproductive laws. As Elena crawled across their apartment floor, reaching for everything with those remarkably strong hands, Elsa reflected on the human concept James had taught her. That kindness, like ripples in water, spreads far beyond its source. Perhaps her daughter would indeed build amazing things. But the foundation had already been laid by a species that understood something her own people had forgotten, that the greatest strength wasn't in rigid perfection, but in the courage to help those who needed it most.